Hi everyone, welcome to my studio. Diane here, hope everyone's well. This afternoon, I'm going to do some bookmarks. I'm going to have a go at painting 3 bookmarks with herbs on, because herbs are my thing at the moment. But I'm going to do it in pen and wash, but the wash is going to be random and in the background rather than following the lines of the drawing. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to find a paintbrush, anyone will do, and I'm going to pick up some loosely, randomly mixed sort of sage green, and then I'm going to cover up 2/3 of my 3. This is a piece of Bao paper, it's about 5 by 8, and I divided it into 3 strips, each 5 centimeters or 2 inches wide, and the length of the page. And so that one I'm going to do in green, so a sort of sage green. Used to be my favorite color when I was a child. And then I'm going to drop in some random, and it's remarkably difficult to keep things random, isn't it? But this is a good way of practicing. Don't try and straighten up the lines. Just leave it random like that and let it be. And then, so the next one is going to be a sort of lilac-y pink colour. So that's going to be a little bit harder to cover up, isn't it? But I just have to do it like that. And then I need another piece of paper. Stick that there. We'll do a few spots. I'm going to do this one different, so I'm just going to spatter fairly heavily all over that and do that as the background. It will all be different, 3 different ideas. So there we have those 2, and oh yes, piece of tissue. Just going to lift that up there. The water doesn't go into this Alhong very quickly. It tends to sit on the surface. And then the third one, I'm going to do a bit more heavier spatter, I think. Let's try that. So we'll put that there, and this one had better be blue, I suppose. Okay. So there we are, there's our 3 backgrounds. And then the next thing you have to do is wait for them to dry. So I have a book here by somebody called Richard Mabey, who wrote this, The Complete New Herbal, in 1988. And it's got some lovely pictures in it, which are very good inspiration and guidance when you want to draw something moderately accurately. And so I'm going to use 3 of the drawings from in here. Zen, couche-toi. Couche-toi maintenant. I don't know. I'm going to use 3 of these. I'm going to start off with the French lavender, I think, which is a little bit different from the English lavender in its form. And then I'm going to choose another couple to do on these 2 other ones. So we'll start, let me think, I'm going to start on the left-hand side, I think. I'm going to be drawing with this is a Stabilo 0.88 fine, that is to say 0.4 millimeter brown pen. And let's see how this goes. So I'm going to, over the top of this random background, I'm going to draw a kind of a center stalk, which we'll do as a double line, doesn't matter if it's a bit irregular. And then this particular plant has sort of elongated leaves set all along the length of the what would you call that, the stalk, in pairs like this. We'll do one more up here. You get quite a nice contrast between the colour of the pen and the random background. And then when you get nearer to the top, they seem to get a little bit more, a bit smaller and a bit finer and a bit more kind of overlapping. And then you get the head at the top, which is about that long, and it has, this is, as I said, French lavender, so it might be a bit different from what we're all used to seeing. It's a bit different from what we've got in our garden, which I think is English, although I'm in France. And then you've got this, I don't know, some kind of complication of little florets there, like that. And then I think it would probably look quite nice if we had another one coming up behind, like that, sort of leaning the other way. And this one would be kind of further away. So it gives it a little bit of perspective. I was thinking about perspective and why people like to draw flowers and things. And I think it's because if you're doing landscapes, people get anxious about perspective, where you've got to show things as being further away. And very rightly so too, because it does complicate things a lot. So flowers and anything sort of flat that doesn't have perspective in it can be an awful lot easier to cope with when you're still learning. And you can learn all the techniques through painting flowers and plants and things like window boxes and so on. You can learn all the techniques. You don't need to do landscapes. A big painting is a complicated thing to put together, and we don't always want the stress. I don't know how many landscapes I've painted that I've been completely unhappy with, or that I don't like at first, and then you spend hours and hours over them, washing it off, starting again, rubbing bits out, changing the colour. You can't do that in a tutorial, can you? So there we are. So that's number one. That's the lavender. So we'll just write down here French lavender. I always want to spell lavender with an AR at the end, but it's wrong. That's wrong. Okay, so let me see. What should we do for the second one? I've got a plant here that I think might look quite nice. It's wild marjoram. I think that might look quite nice on the pink. So again, we'll start off with a stalk going down the middle of the page. And then this has lots of leaves down here, which we'll draw in a minute, but first of all, we need to put in some side branches, like this. Yeah, and then another one down here. Okay, and then on each of these, there's a kind of a leaf a bit like that. And then a tiny leaf, and then lots of little circles making up the flower. So that's florets, little florets. And if you want something to do which is relatively undemanding, ergo mindless, this could be it. And obviously you would think that the leaves would get bigger as they go down. And they do a little bit, but not much actually. And then after you've done all of this, you're going to be saying, should I colour it in? And of course that's entirely up to you. I probably won't, just from point of view of time. But you definitely could. You'd need a fairly small brush, unless you used the technique of painting outside the lines, which is okay too, isn't it? And some of these leaves are kind of pointing downwards down here too. And they do vary a bit in size. It's a pretty little plant. I'm not sure whether we get wild marjoram here. I'm never quite sure how to pronounce it. My mother-in-law used to say marjoram. I think it's got a different name, isn't it? It's oregano. It's oregano for Americans. Yes, that's right. So all the way down. So there we are. There is the Oreganum vulgare, or wild. I'm going to say wild oregano, because I can't pronounce marjoram. Okay, so that's number 2. And then for number 3, we want something that's going to look good on a blue background. What shall we do? How about some echinacea? Echinacea. Okay, so we will start with a long stem. And then the leaves are like this. Just make that double. You get a nice broken line when you use a pen like this on cold press watercolor paper, because it's quite rough, isn't it? So these leaves have got long stalks, and then they come out as a kind of elongated oval, like that. And they get bigger as they go up quite quickly. Down the bottom it is fairly thick. Then at the top it's going to have a couple of leaves coming off like that, little ones, and then the flower is lots and lots of little dewberries in the middle, and then you've got these petals coming out like that. There we are, that's echinacea. Okay, so up to you whether you decide you want to colour it in, but you definitely could. No harm in that. And I'm going to see if I can find a ruler and a knife. And I have a very impatient dog. Knife. Oh yes, first of all we have to take it off the pad. It's a block. There we are, and I already drew the lines, so we'll just run the Stanley knife down that one. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, and that would look quite nice if you leave it as they are, I think, or else if you wanted to, you could just colour in the leaves with a little bit of watercolour wash. This would be pink, and these flowers also would be pink, and this of course would be lilac, but I'd probably leave those flowers and just colour in the leaves. So there we are, 3 bookmarks. Didn't take very long. Quick gift for somebody you love. So I will say goodbye now, and I'll see you again soon. No message from me at the end of this today because I've got to take this gosh darn dog out for a walk. So I'll say bye-bye everybody. Bye-bye.